We all know someone like this. Someone a little too fond of their own reflection. Someone whose favorite topic of conversation is themselves. But what if this self-absorption is more than just an annoying quirk? What if it's a sign of something deeper, something more pervasive? We're talking about narcissism, a word thrown around a lot these days. But do we truly understand what it means? It's time we took a closer, harder look. Because understanding narcissism is the first step to recognizing its subtle and not so subtle creep into our lives and our culture. This isn't just about vanity, it's about a fundamental shift in how we see ourselves and others. True narcissism, in a psychological sense, is a personality pattern. It's characterized by an inflated sense of self-importance, a deep, almost unquenchable need for excessive attention and admiration. Think of it as a constant hunger for validation. Narcissists often have troubled relationships. They struggle with empathy, finding it hard to genuinely understand or share the feelings of others. This lack of empathy is a critical piece of the puzzle, one we'll keep returning to. Healthy self-esteem is vital. It's the bedrock of resilience, of well-being. Narcissism, however, is a different beast entirely. It often masks a fragile ego, a deep-seated insecurity. It's important to understand that narcissism exists on a spectrum. We all have some narcissistic traits. A little bit of self-interest is normal, even healthy. It helps us strive, achieve, and protect ourselves. But when do these traits cross a line? When does a healthy dose of confidence curdle into something toxic? The distinction is crucial. It's the difference between a person who feels good about themselves and a person who needs to feel better than everyone else. It's the shift from self-assurance to an all-consuming demand for external validation. Behind the carefully constructed facade of superiority, the narcissist often grapples with a profound sense of emptiness. Their grand gestures, their constant need for the spotlight, are not signs of genuine self-love. Instead, they are desperate attempts to fill a void that no amount of admiration can truly satisfy. This internal fragility is a key characteristic often missed by casual observers. They see the arrogance, the entitlement. They rarely see the fear and insecurity that fuel it. Narcissists can be incredibly charming at first. They know how to win you over, how to make you feel special. But this charm is often a tool for manipulation. They might exploit others to achieve their own goals, with little regard for the feelings or well-being of those they use. Their sense of entitlement leads them to believe they deserve special treatment. The word manipulation becomes central to their interactions. Now, let's ask the big question. Is narcissism actually on the rise? Are we, as a society, becoming more self-obsessed? Many researchers believe so. They point to a growing body of evidence suggesting a significant cultural shift. Studies like those by Dr. Jean Twenge, author of The Narcissism Epidemic, indicate that narcissistic traits have been steadily increasing in recent decades, particularly among younger generations. This isn't about blaming individuals. It's about understanding a larger trend, a trend that seems to be accelerating in the 21st century. What's fueling this apparent surge? The answers are complex, multifaceted. We live in an era that often celebrates and rewards self-promotion. Social media platforms thrive on curated self-portraits and the relentless pursuit of likes and followers, constant bids for attention. Influencer culture often equates visibility with value. Even some modern parenting philosophies, while well-intentioned, may inadvertently foster entitlement rather than genuine resilience. Why should this rising tide of narcissism concern us? Because a society with more narcissism is a society with less empathy. Empathy is the glue that holds us together. It's our ability to understand and share the feelings of others. When empathy declines, cooperation suffers. Trust erodes. We become more isolated, more focused on individual gain than collective well-being. The potential social dangers are significant. Increased manipulation, a greater tolerance for unethical behavior, and a pervasive sense of loneliness, even in a hyper-connected world. This is more than a personality flaw, it's a cultural challenge. So, we've sketched the outline of narcissism, but this isn't just cocktail party chatter, it's a field of serious psychological inquiry. Researchers have spent decades trying to understand this complex personality. They've developed tools like the Narcissistic Personality Inventory, or NPI. This isn't about labeling people, it's about measuring traits on a continuum. It helps us see patterns. It helps us understand how prevalent these traits are becoming. This scientific approach moves us beyond simple judgment. It allows us to dissect the phenomenon with greater precision. The data paints a concerning picture, one that demands our attention. What does this research tell us? Study after study points to a clear trend. Narcissistic traits appear to be more common now than they were a generation or two ago. Dr. Jean Twenge, a prominent researcher in this field, has documented this rise extensively in her work, notably in books like Generation Me. Her findings suggest that average NPI scores have been climbing. This isn't to say everyone is becoming a clinical narcissist, but those subtle shades of self-enhancement, entitlement, and a reduced focus on others' needs, they seem to be on an upward trajectory. This research isn't happening in a vacuum. It connects directly to observable shifts in behavior. Psychology doesn't exist in a bubble. Our inner worlds are shaped by the outer world. So, if narcissistic traits are on the rise, we have to ask, what in our culture is feeding this? It's not about a single cause, it's more like a perfect storm of societal shifts. We've moved in many Western societies from a we focus to a me focus. Community bonds have, in some ways, loosened. Individual achievement is often prized above collective effort. This isn't inherently bad, but it can create an environment where self-promotion becomes not just accepted, but expected. Think about the messages we receive daily. Advertising tells us we deserve the best, that we are special. Reality television often glorifies dramatic, self-centered behavior, rewarding it with attention. The promise of fame, however fleeting, seems more accessible than ever. Everyone can be a micro-celebrity in their own digital kingdom. This relentless focus on the self, on standing out, on being noticed, it subtly redefines what we value. It shifts the goalposts from internal worth to external validation. And that is fertile ground for narcissistic tendencies to take root and grow. The economic landscape plays a role too. In highly competitive environments, a certain degree of self-promotion can feel necessary for survival, for advancement. So, society plays its part. But what about the individual? What happens inside the mind that leads to these patterns? Narcissism, at its core, often stems from a deeply insecure sense of self. That outward display of superiority, that grandiosity, it's frequently a mask. A defense against feelings of inadequacy, shame, or emptiness. It's a paradox. The person who seems so in love with themselves may, on a deeper level, struggle to feel truly worthy. This internal fragility is key to understanding the narcissistic blueprint. Early life experiences can lay the groundwork. Imagine a child who is excessively praised, told they are perfect, regardless of their actual behavior. This can foster a sense of entitlement and an inability to handle criticism. Conversely, a child who experiences neglect or constant harsh criticism might develop narcissism as a protective shell, a way to say, I am special, I am invulnerable, even when they feel the opposite. Neither extreme provides the balanced mirroring and realistic feedback needed for healthy self-esteem. It's a delicate balance, easily disrupted. This leads to a lifelong struggle with self-esteem regulation. Most people have a relatively stable sense of self-worth. It can fluctuate, sure, but it's anchored. For someone with strong narcissistic traits, self-esteem is like a leaky tire. It needs constant pumping up from external sources, admiration, attention, envy from others. This is why they are so dependent on validation. Welcome to the digital age, an age defined by connection, by information, and by the screen. Social media platforms have become central to our lives. They are our town squares, our photo albums, our news feeds. But what are they doing to our sense of self? These platforms are not neutral spaces. They are meticulously designed environments, engineered to capture and hold our attention. They thrive on engagement. And engagement, it turns out, is often fueled by a very particular kind of self-focus. A focus that can subtly nudge us towards narcissistic tendencies. Think about the core mechanics. You share a piece of your life, a photo, a thought, an achievement. Then you wait. You wait for the likes, the comments, the shares. This is the currency of social media validation. Section 2. Crafting the digital mask, the high cost of online perfection. We craft digital masks, sharing triumphs, rarely struggles. Social media amplifies this tendency. The pressure to maintain perfection is immense. It can create a dangerous disconnect. True connection thrives on authenticity. The digital mask can become heavy. It can feel like a trap. We fear being exposed as imperfect. This fear limits our willingness to be vulnerable. True connection requires vulnerability. Genuine empathy becomes harder to cultivate. We interact with caricatures, not complex individuals. This erodes potential for deep, meaningful relationships. The constant performance blurs identity lines. Who are we really? The person behind the screen, or the carefully constructed avatar we present to the world? For younger generations, this can be particularly confusing. Their sense of self is shaped in an environment that constantly demands attention. The pressure to conform to an online ideal can be exhausting. It subtly teaches that one's worth is measured by likes and followers. Section 3. The trophy generation. When special becomes standard. It's not just social media though, other cultural currents are at play. Consider some shifts in parenting philosophies over recent decades. Many parents with the best intentions have aimed to build their children's self-esteem. They've showered them with praise, shielded them from failure, told them they are special, unique, capable of anything. The goal was admirable, to raise confident, secure individuals, but has this approach in some cases inadvertently fostered a sense of entitlement, a belief that one deserves constant accolades simply for being themselves? This is where the idea of the trophy generation comes in. The notion that some young people grew up receiving awards for mere participation. Again, the intention was positive, to encourage effort, to make everyone feel included. However, some critics, like Dr. Jean Twenge, argue this may have unintended consequences. If praise is decoupled from genuine achievement, it can lose its meaning. It can create an expectation of reward without commensurate effort. This can lead to difficulties when facing the real-world challenges that don't come with a participation trophy. The desire to protect children from discomfort or disappointment is understandable. No parent wants to see their child suffer, but resilience is built through overcoming obstacles. Self-esteem is forged in the fires of real accomplishment, not just unearned praise. If children are consistently told they are perfect, they may struggle to develop coping mechanisms for criticism or failure. They might perceive any setback as a personal affront, a sign that the world is unfair, rather than an opportunity for growth. This constant need for external validation of their specialness can be a heavy burden. This isn't about blaming parents. Most are doing their best in a rapidly changing world. It's about examining cultural trends and their potential impacts. The shift towards more child-centric parenting, while offering many benefits, can sometimes blur boundaries. It can lead to a dynamic where the child's desires and feelings consistently take precedence, without teaching the crucial balance of considering others' needs. This focus, if unchecked, can lay the groundwork for an inflated sense of self-importance and a diminished capacity for empathy. Key ingredients in the narcissistic cocktail. We need to ask if special has become the expected standard, rather than an earned distinction. Section 4. From playground praise to profile pics, the entitlement pipeline. Now let's connect the dots. Parenting trends meet social media, creating an entitlement pipeline. Constant praise leads to a need for online validation. Imagine a young person raised with constant affirmation. Then, they step into the digital world, a world that offers endless platforms for self-promotion. A world that rewards those who shout the loudest. The synergy can be potent. The seeds of entitlement, sown in childhood, find fertile ground online. The attention economy of social media perfectly complements a mindset that has been conditioned to expect it. If you've always been the center of your parents' universe, seeking to be the center of your online universe feels natural. The quest for likes, followers, and viral fame can become an extension of the need for parental validation. Except now, the audience is potentially global. And the rewards, however fleeting, can feel immensely validating to an ego primed for praise. This isn't about conscious manipulation at first, but a learned pattern of seeking external approval. This pipeline can make it harder to develop true empathy. If your upbringing and your online environment both constantly reinforce your own importance, it becomes more challenging to step outside yourself, to genuinely consider the perspectives and feelings of others. Social media, with its curated feeds, can create echo chambers. We surround ourselves with voices that affirm our views, our specialness. Dissenting opinions are unfollowed or blocked. This limits exposure to different viewpoints, crucial for developing a nuanced understanding of the world and the people in it. The danger lies in this potent combination. parenting that overemphasizes specialness without also instilling a strong sense of responsibility and humility, and a digital landscape that rewards self-focus and superficial engagement. Together, they can create a generation that is highly confident on the surface, but potentially lacking in resilience and deep interpersonal skills. They may expect the world to cater to them, much like their early environment did, and they may struggle when the world inevitably fails to meet those inflated expectations. The pipeline flows from early praise directly to the public performance of the profile pic, often bypassing critical lessons in humility and shared humanity. So, what happens when a society leans heavily into narcissism? One of the first casualties is empathy, that vital human ability to understand and share feelings. It binds us, allows for cooperation, compassion, community. But narcissism discourages this. The focus is inward, always inward. The slow erosion of empathy isn't dramatic. It's a quiet creep with profound consequences. The very fabric of community frays. A society that desperately needs more understanding, not less. When self-interest reigns supreme, manipulation emerges. Narcissism views people as tools for personal gain. This behavior seeps into all areas of life, from personal relationships to the workplace. It fosters unease and social fragmentation. The social contract unravels, leaving society feeling like a battlefield. Here lies one of the great paradoxes of our modern age. We are the most connected generation in history. Screens link us across continents instantly. Yet, loneliness is rising. Digital contact often feels isolating. Self-focus hinders true connection. True connection requires empathy and authenticity. We've explored the grand stages of narcissism, social media, parenting. But what about the quieter corners? The subtle ways these traits seep into our daily lives, often unnoticed. It starts with the tools we use, the technology that surrounds us. Think beyond the obvious scroll of social feeds. Consider the apps designed for self-optimization, fitness trackers that quantify our every move, productivity tools that measure our output, meditation apps that turn inner peace into a trackable metric. Each one in its own way centers the universe squarely on me. My progress, my data, my improvement. This constant self-monitoring can be beneficial, of course. It can drive us towards healthier habits, greater efficiency. But it also subtly reinforces a hyper-focus on the self. We become projects to be managed, data sets to be analyzed. Our internal landscape is externalized, measured, and often compared. This isn't the brash narcissism of demanding attention. It's a quieter, more insidious variant. One where the self becomes the ultimate and sometimes solitary point of reference. We are constantly looking inward, prompted by the very devices meant to connect us outward. It's a gentle nudge, repeated 1,000 times a day. Cultural narratives amplify this. The rise of personal branding is a prime example. It's no longer just for celebrities or corporations. We are all encouraged to curate our brand, to think of ourselves as commodities in the marketplace of life. Your career, your hobbies, even your relationships, all can be framed as part of your personal brand identity. This requires constant self-promotion, a perpetual presentation of a polished, desirable self. It's a subtle pressure to perform, to manage perceptions, to ensure our brand is always on point. This blurs the line between authentic living and strategic self-display. This isn't to say self-improvement or career ambition are inherently narcissistic. Far from it. The danger lies in the how and the why. When the pursuit of self-betterment becomes less about genuine growth and more about crafting an enviable image, when our value feels tied to external metrics, to the perceived success of our personal brand, this constant self-focus, encouraged by technology and cultural trends, can subtly erode our capacity for empathy. It can make us less aware of the world beyond our own curated existence. We start to inhabit a digital echo chamber of our own making, reflecting our own priorities back at us. This relentless self-focus bleeds into our everyday actions. Mundane moments become potential content. Our meals are photographed before they are eaten. Our workouts are documented for public consumption. Our vacations are curated into shareable narratives. We are, increasingly, living life as if it were a performance. Not just on social media platforms, but in our mindset. There's an invisible audience we've internalized, a need to present even our private experiences in a way that might garner approval or at least attention. This performative layer can strip away the simple joy of just being. Think about the influencer culture. It has normalized the commodification of daily life. Every aspect of existence, from morning routines to personal struggles, can be packaged and broadcast. While influencers may be the extreme, their ethos trickles down. We see friends and peers meticulously crafting their online narratives, and consciously or unconsciously, we may feel pressure to do the same, to present a version of our lives that is engaging, enviable, or at the very least, interesting. This creates a low-grade hum of performative anxiety. Am I living up to the image I project? Am I interesting enough? This constant performance subtly shifts our motivations. We might choose an activity not purely for its intrinsic enjoyment but for its shareability. We might tailor our opinions to be more palatable, more likely to receive positive validation. The experience itself can become secondary to its documentation. This is a quiet, almost unconscious drift. We start to see our lives through the lens of potential public perception. This isn't necessarily about overt boasting, it's about the subtle calculation that precedes action. How will this look? How will this be received? How can I frame this for maximum impact? The danger here is the erosion of authenticity. When we are always performing, always curating, who is the real me? And how much energy is diverted from genuine experience to its presentation? This can lead to a strange disconnect, a feeling of being an actor in our own lives. It also fosters a competitive edge in social interactions. We are subtly jockeying for attention, for affirmation. This makes genuine, unguarded connection more difficult. If everyone is on stage, who is in the audience to truly listen, to truly offer empathy without an agenda? Narcissistic traits can develop through unintentional self-deception. It's a gradual process, fueled by cultural and technological currents. We start to believe our own hype. The curated image we project can feel like our actual self. Positive validation reinforces this image. The lines blur between performance and performer. We might see ourselves as uniquely special. Echo chambers play a significant role. Our digital environments are personalized. We are fed content that aligns with our views. We connect with like-minded people. Dissenting opinions are filtered out. This creates a comfortable bubble, but it can distort our perception of reality. We might believe our perspectives are more widely shared. This makes it harder to practice intellectual humility. Lack of diverse perspectives fosters a sense of superiority. Reinforced beliefs make us more rigid, more dismissive of those who disagree. This isn't born from malice, it's a byproduct of an information ecosystem prioritizing engagement. The subtle message is, you are right, your circle is right. This can inflate our ego. We might develop these traits without awareness. We might see ourselves as confident, not arrogant. The culture rewards these displays. The attention economy validates them. It takes conscious effort to see these patterns, to ask the hard questions. Am I truly open to other views? Do I seek validation more than genuine connection? Am I performing or am I living? Everyday self-focus can unknowingly morph into something more problematic. So, we've journeyed through the rising landscape of narcissism. It's a call for awareness, and with awareness comes power. The power to choose a different path, to protect our own mindsets, to push back against the relentless tide of self-obsession. It begins with a conscious decision to fortify your inner world. Reclaim your attention as a precious resource. True self-esteem comes from competence, from character, from contributing to something larger than yourself. Section 2. The Empathy Workout: Rebuilding Our Connective Tissue. Protecting ourselves isn't just about building inner walls, it's also about building outer bridges. And the primary material for those bridges? Empathy. That ability to understand and share the feelings of others. It's the direct antidote to narcissism's self-absorption. But empathy isn't just a passive feeling, it's a skill, a muscle. And like any muscle, it needs to be exercised. Deliberately. Consistently. In a world that often encourages us to focus on me, we need an active empathy workout to rebuild our connective tissue. This is crucial for our individual well-being and for the health of our communities. How do we exercise empathy? Start by listening, truly listening, not just waiting for your turn to speak, not formulating your rebuttal while the other person is talking. Practice active listening, make eye contact, ask clarifying questions. Try to understand the speaker's perspective, even if you don't agree with it. This means putting your own ego, your own agenda on pause. It requires a conscious effort to step into someone else's shoes, to imagine their experience. This simple act of engaged listening can be revolutionary in a world full of noise and competing monologues. Another vital exercise is perspective taking. Make an effort to consume media and stories from viewpoints different from your own. Read books by authors from other cultures. Watch documentaries that challenge your assumptions. Engage in respectful conversations with people who hold different beliefs. This doesn't mean abandoning your own values. It means expanding your understanding of the human experience. It means recognizing that your reality isn't the only reality. This stretches your empathy muscle, making it more flexible, more resilient. It helps break down the us versus them mentality that narcissism thrives on. Finally, practice compassion for others and for yourself. Recognize that everyone is fighting a battle you may know nothing about. Extend grace even when it's difficult. Volunteer your time, perform small acts of kindness without expecting anything in return. This shifts the focus from what can I get to what can I give. And don't forget self-compassion. Acknowledging your own imperfections without harsh judgment is key. It makes you more understanding of the imperfections in others. An empathy workout isn't always easy. It requires patience and humility, but the rewards, deeper connections, a more compassionate world, are immeasurable. Section 3. Weaving real webs. The power of authentic community. The narcissistic mindset often isolates. It creates a world where individuals are islands. The most powerful antidote to this isolation is genuine community. Not the superficial online networks, but real, authentic connections with people who see you and support you. We thrive on belonging. Rebuilding these connections is essential. It's about finding our tribe. Prioritize quality over quantity in relationships. Seek out friendships based on shared values and genuine care. Invest time and energy in these relationships. Be present. Be vulnerable. Offer support and be willing to receive it. This kind of reciprocal empathy is the lifeblood of strong communities. It's a far cry from the transactional nature of many narcissistic interactions. Authentic connections are about being, not just doing or getting. They provide a sense of security and belonging that no amount of online validation can replicate. Actively participate in group activities that foster a sense of shared purpose. Join a club, volunteer for a cause you believe in, participate in local community events. These activities shift the focus from individual achievement to collective effort. They remind us that we are part of something larger than ourselves. Working alongside others towards a common goal builds camaraderie, trust, and a sense of interdependence. This directly counters the hyper-individualism that fuels narcissistic tendencies. It teaches us the value of cooperation, compromise, and shared success, strengthening the very fabric of community. Ultimately, weaving these real webs is about choosing interdependence over a fiercely guarded independence. It's about recognizing that our well-being is intertwined with the well-being of others. A strong community provides a buffer against loneliness and alienation. It offers different perspectives that can challenge our own potential blind spots. It provides a space for authentic self-expression, free from the pressure of constant performance. In a world increasingly obsessed with the self, the deliberate cultivation of genuine human connection is not just a comfort, it is an act of resistance, a vital step towards a more empathetic and resilient society. Section 1. Reclaiming Humanity, the Path Forward. We've delved deep into the rise of narcissism, tracing its roots from mythology to modern screens. Understanding is only the beginning. The real challenge lies in reclaiming our humanity. This requires a conscious, collective effort to refocus our values. Prioritize empathy and community over self-promotion and superficiality. This is the path forward, a reclamation of our shared humanity. Section 2. The Ripple Effect, Collective Impact, and Personal Responsibility. Addressing the rise of narcissism isn't just a societal issue, it's a deeply personal one. Each of us plays a role in either perpetuating or countering this cultural epidemic. Personal responsibility is the cornerstone of meaningful change. By examining our own behaviors and motivations, we can start to make choices that reflect our commitment to a more empathetic, connected world. This begins with small, intentional acts. Choosing genuine interactions over performative ones, valuing quiet contributions over loud self-promotion, and practicing gratitude for what we have rather than constantly seeking external validation. The ripple effect of these personal choices can be profound. When we prioritize empathy and authenticity in our daily lives, we create environments that encourage others to do the same. It's about setting examples, both in our personal circles and in our broader communities. By fostering spaces where people feel seen and heard, without the need for constant performance, we can begin to rebuild the social fabric that narcissism has frayed. These small ripples, when multiplied, can create waves of change, shifting the cultural tide towards a more compassionate and connected society. Community leaders, educators, and influencers hold significant power in shaping these cultural narratives. By promoting messages that emphasize collective well-being, resilience, and genuine connection, they can help steer the societal ship away from narcissism. It's about celebrating stories of empathy, highlighting acts of quiet heroism, and creating platforms that reward substance over superficiality. These leaders can model the behaviors we need to see, demonstrating that true strength lies in our ability to connect deeply with others, to understand their experiences, and to work together towards common goals. Ultimately, the rise of narcissism and its associated dangers are not insurmountable challenges. They are calls to action, calls to reflect, to reassess, and to reclaim the values that bind us as a society. By taking personal responsibility and fostering collective impact, we can mitigate the spread of narcissistic traits and create a world where empathy, authenticity, and community are paramount. The journey is ongoing, but every step we take towards these ideals brings us closer to a society that truly values the interconnectedness of all its members. In this, we find hope. The hope of a future where humanity in its truest sense is reclaimed and celebrated.